How would you feel if your kid's locked up and his mom's right there?
The question I've been asked is, there was a mom threat, correct? They locked it down.
Correct.
It's an emergency.
Correct.
If it's a fire, you can lock it down in emergency. So I'm working to evacuate, is what I've been asked.
Okay. Our procedures, depending on the level of the threat, dictate whether we evacuate the building or don't evacuate the building.
Right, so, if they're locked in there, they're all going to blow. That's what I've been asked. And I said, I don't know, I'll find out.
Again, the procedures that are in place with what we have didn't dictate an evacuation.
So the level the school was placed on that day, everybody that was needed to be notified for that level was notified, correct?
As far as I know.
On August 21st of 2014, I was notified that someone had written something in the stall wall, and it said, so-and-so is the bomb, this is a bomb threat. We didn't have really a protocol in place at that time, so I went ahead and I contacted 911. I went ahead and activated the fire alarm, and we evacuated the building. And that was an all-day thing. I mean, we had, folks from different agencies that were there at the school, and to be honest, when I first looked at it, I felt certain it was a hoax, but we didn't have anything to follow, so I just went ahead and did what I thought was best at that time. What happened or occurred following the next week or so, we had a lot of children that were pretty distraught about what had occurred with that particular incident on that day. And I also had a lot of parents that had come by and visited with me. And we're trying to create a culture of excellence and success. And this kind of hung over the school there for, some period of time. Shortly thereafter, I received a protocol from our central office which indicated what we just discussed, different levels of threat. On this particular day, I was notified that something was written on a stall wall. The SRO and myself, we went down and we evaluated the situation. On the way back down the hallway, the SRO went ahead and contacted Sergeant Larkin. I went into the office and then, pulled out the protocol and started looking at the different levels. According to the protocol, I'm supposed to go ahead and notify the director of schools, which I did. And, we discussed what the protocol said. We determined probably what was going to be best at that time was go ahead and put the school in the green lockdown, really just so the teachers can continue to teach and not to alarm the students, or when the officers arrive, they could go ahead and walk down the hallway, assess the threat, and then, at the conclusion of the episode, that myself and Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, we determined that the threat subsided. So that's what occurred on that particular day.
We have caught quite a bit of criticism concerning that, even as much as it was a negligent act on our part, it was an intentional act, it was lack of training. I can assure everyone in this room, our dispatchers are trained to handle situations as this. If the call had come in that it was an actual emergency, it didn't matter whether it was Rogers Middle or Churchill Middle, it didn't matter to us. That was uncalled for, and I think most of you know what I'm speaking. The call came in from the sergeant, and we handled it accordingly to what we were trained to do. I think this is blown way out of proportion. I think this was, it was a decision by the school, by the sheriff's department, and we have trained, we have worked together, and this is something that we were ready for. We're ready for it if it's something bigger than this.
When this call came in, I was notified of it. And I notified what was going on, as well as my chief gate and my lieutenant. It wasn't Bible threat. I promise you. If we get a threat in our schools, we call for that. It will happen. We will be there. Principals, all the MSs, the fires, the EMA, everybody there. It's a team effort. The reason nobody else was notified because there was no use taking these guys off their duty for nothing because they've been a year old. There was no need. The volunteer fire department for Rock Fire Department to pull their trucks out and use to place their fuel and call people off their jobs as volunteers for nothing. We had that. Sometimes we have to use a little common sense. And sometimes it may not be a given to everybody. We have to rely on our training. My SROs are trained better than anybody in Upper East Tennessee, I assure you.
On the city school over here, they had an issue here not too long ago. Wasn't no dog and pony show. 3 or 4 other officers went over and took care of it. There wasn't no fire truck showed up, wasn't nobody evacuated. Okay? The problem right now with everyone, and I'm saying everybody, commissioners, responders and everything. If you got a question, ask somebody. Don't just go ahead and spurt it off into the public. Somebody screwed up, or EMS screwed up, or EMA screwed up. There's a reason. There's been over 2 years of planning went into this school thing with Sergeant Larkins, and now Lieutenant Larkins, Chief Allen. There's a lot of thought went into this stuff. And there has been schools locked down. There has been schools evacuated. They evacuated Cherokee. They've done a lot of things. The plan works. It's supposed to work. But if you've got a question, and it's like I've told the majority of the commissioners I've talked to, some of you don't even know where I'm at. If you got a question about EMA, ask. If you know where the sheriff is, ask him. You know where 911 is, I hope, ask them. EMS, ask them. Don't just go in here and start running a letter up the pole and say who salutes it. Because the majority of the time, the information is wrong. And these people that sat down and done this, the Sheriff's Department has done one heck of a job creating this plan.